Welcome to Dwayne's Garage. As most of you know, I'm rebuilding a 1971 350 Honda, and I've been working on it for a few years on and off. I've redone the carburetors. I started the engine once, so I know it runs, and I'm about ready to see if I can make it run with the gas tank on it and as it normally would. But as I get to that point, this bike was sent back to the guy who originally sold it, the dealer, and put in his garage or barn from 1974 until 3 years ago when I bought it. So the gas in the gas tank has been sitting there for that many years, and it was sitting on an angle, so the stuff that came out of the gas tank when I dumped it out didn't look like gas, didn't smell like gas. It was more like varnish, and there's all kinds of rust inside. So I looked on the internet, and the internet said really the best way to do that is to take sand and distilled water, pour it in there, and shake it for about 15 minutes, and that would get it out. Well, I don't feel like shaking the thing for 15 minutes, and because that rust is so bad inside the tank, I decided to make my own gas tank refinisher. Now the tank itself is in really good shape. The paint was ruined because it sat on its side and the gas leaked out on one side, but there's no rust on the tank, and the tank is in otherwise really good shape. Is the reason why I just didn't replace it. You have to excuse the mess in the garage. As you can see, we remodeled the house next door, and then when we sold it, we brought all the materials back here and set in the garage, and then we did the same thing with the Skyview video building. We've recently sold it. I had one apartment full of stuff that was mine, and I brought that back and threw it in this garage too. So until we make some adjustments, I'm going to have to work around all this. But back to the gas tank. So what I did was I took two satellite dish mounts and cut the top off and cut a 3/4 inch hole in both of them. I bought a piece of 1/2 inch galvanized pipe, which is almost 3/4 inch outside dimension. I put a couple of washers on it and put a screw on each side so that it won't leave the space that it's in. It'll stay right there. And then on the other side, I went to Tractor Supply and got a couple of pulleys and a belt. And I just kind of sized the belt for what I needed. I have an old drill that's really not, I don't use much anymore. At one time it was a really nice hammer drill. It doesn't hammer anymore. So I tied that with a couple of pipe clamps, and on the front I used a different clamp. I put a pulley on it, so hopefully when we plug this in it'll turn, and I already did, and it does. So if I can plug that in, I will do it. And the ratio, they said, is 1:1. Once we get it going, it will turn. All right, so the trigger on the drill is put together with a pipe clamp also. So if I just tighten this a little bit, it gives it a little more gas and it turns. You know, I'm not to the point where I need to have ball bearings on all this stuff, so it's really metal against metal, but it's going so slow it shouldn't matter. And I have a mixture of half sand, half water inside that tank, and I'm going to let it spin for, I don't know, hours. I'm a little reluctant to let it go without me watching it, but we'll see how it works. And that is the gas tank refinisher.